So I get questions. What is the role of an estimator in construction? Now, most of you know it's to price the work and send out a proposal or a price or a bid. So eventually you win some work, right? So the question, what's more important, win work or accuracy? So there's two kinds of estimators in my opinion, and I've had them all work for me. Those ones that sit in the back room with the door shut and sit in the computer and doing plans and takeoffs all day and they love it. They're kind of introvertish and they're number people. I had a client yesterday, he called me for some questions on how to present their company to a major utility company who is hiring them for, potentially hiring them, they're interviewing them for a $6 million site work project. And I said, well, who's coming to the meeting? So the head guy was coming, who's very good on his feet. He's a very good presenter. And I said, what about your estimator? He says, oh no, we don't let him talk. So that's pretty standard. Usually there's the don't let them talk estimator, but they're really good with numbers. And then there's those who can present and they're good on their feet. So there's no right answer. You're going to do most of the talking anyway as the owner, manager of your business, or maybe you've got somebody else who's good at it. But your estimator is going to be there to assure that you've got things, you've got it all covered and your prices are right. So what prices do you have to have right? You've got to make sure your field labor productivity is accurate so that, first of all, they know how long a job's going to take. So that might require some input from your field managers. But then once they figure out how long it's going to take, how many crew hours per quantity, per lineal foot, per cubic yard, per square foot, that's the key. How many hours is this job going to take? Then we put a budget on it and add it all up. So that's the key on self-perform work. On general contracting work, it's to add up all the subcontractors and suppliers, all the cost code items, and make sure you've got all the items that potentially you could miss in there so you don't have a miss. You got the right length of time. I've seen so many contractors have their schedule go over, which costs them 10, 20, 30 grand a week, which costs them huge money. And the longer you're out there, the more money it costs. So I want you to think about what's the purpose for your bid. Accuracy, yes. Win work, yes. Who should be the win work person? Should be the owner and the person who's good as a salesperson. And lastly, the purpose of your bid. In my opinion, I won a lot of work as a general contractor when I realized the purpose for my bid was to get a meeting. Because in a meeting I can negotiate. I can change my bid. I can include things that were gray areas. I can explain things, and I can show them why we're the right choice. If I just send my bid in on black ink on white paper, they can't tell if you're any good. They don't know. They're only looking for price. I want to offer more than price so I have a better chance of winning a good job. So think about the purpose of your bid. So I've got a complete job description and flow chart for an estimator, which I'm going to offer you as a download for watching today at the end of our session. You'll see it. And number one, I've already said it, develop accurate estimates with no missed items, no missed items. Scope, inclusions, exclusions, schedule, value engineering, alternates, bonds, insurance, permits, all the things you need to have in your bid. And then we've got to know our equipment rates and our accuracy for labor rates. So I got to have exact knowledge of how much our labor costs per hour and our crew costs per hour and our equipment costs per hour. Those are my costs. I can't change the costs. And then I got to know what rental equipment costs. So that's part of my job. And then I got to know which subcontractors to contact to price the work, the ones that I trust. And one of the things I need to do is make sure I have a robust subcontractor database that I can request proposals from so I can have a very competitive, complete, professional subcontractor list when I bid the job, right? So then I have to track the estimating workload. I got to keep track of all the jobs that are coming in, the leads turning into opportunities, turning into proposals, turning into bids, turning into follow-up. I need a template that tracks me through the estimating and lead generation process. That's what I need next. I'm going to have to attend some job walks. I'm going to have to attend some pre-construction meetings. I'm going to have to get out of the office and do that. That's part of my role. The other part of my role is I'm going to have to track my bid hit win ratio. Number of jobs I bid to number I win. And I'm going to track it by dollars won, versus dollars bid, and numbers of jobs won versus numbers. And you're going to have two different numbers, and you can make an adjustment on that. So that's what I want. And then you're going to have to keep track of actual contracts every month to make sure you stay on target to achieve your annual sales goals, all right? And then I'm going to meet with my estimating team and my sales team and the president of the company as an estimator. I'm going to make sure which jobs do we want to bid, which don't we want to bid. I want my president and the team to make that decision. I don't want to rely on myself because the president sometimes knows things that I may or may not know. What kind of jobs we want to go after, we don't want to go after, who's a bad customer, who's a creep, who's not, who's good, bad, and the ugly, right? So that's what I want you to think about. And then we track that win ratio to help us decide what jobs to bid. Then we're going to make sure we have a schedule. Me as the chief estimator, let's say, I'm going to have an estimator doing the work. I've got to have a schedule when I'm going to meet with them to go over the bid, make sure we got the right team on board, the right subcontractors and suppliers. Then I'm going to have another meeting scheduled a week out. And then I'm going to have a meeting 2 days before the bid. I'm going to make sure, keep track and monitor the progress. That's important. And then I want to make sure I have a strong subcontractor database of really good qualified subcontractors and suppliers that I can use on a regular basis. And they're professional, they're the team we want. And then I've got to maintain that estimating template in our estimating software. There's many estimating softwares out there, simple ones and very detailed ones. So my job is to make sure it's up to speed, it's accurate, it's complete, and there's no missed items. And so I'm going to update my cost history. Every time we finish a job, we're going to look at the final cost versus the bid, and we're going to go back and adjust, first of all, what we missed, add it to the template, and how our labor production and equipment production was versus what I bid. And we're going to go back and adjust our production rates accordingly. I'm also going to have to occasionally provide some conceptual bids, some budget estimates. So I'm going to have to make sure I'm working diligently on that. That's a whole nother process that takes a little time to build as one of your things you want to do. I'm going to have to attend these meetings. We're going to have a weekly estimating and sales meeting. I'm going to have to attend meetings with project managers. We're going to have a job startup meeting where I turn it over from estimating to project management. So I'm going to kind of manage that meeting. And lastly, I'm going to get to assist my project managers as needed. Maybe they're under construction, they get a big, huge change order, which requires, 100, 300 grand change order or even higher. I might need to stop and help them price their change orders, okay? So there's lots of things an estimator must do. It's a lot of work, and I can hire a takeoff person to help me. I could have our estimating coordinator help me do some of the administrative work, like send out project plans to bid, to track who's bidding it, to do all the proposal preparation. There's lots of things I could delegate. But my job is to make sure the jobs are perfect when they bid and we come in on budget. Hopefully I gave you a couple good ideas. We've got a special handout. First one is called Contractor Job Descriptions. I'm going to have that available for you and that flow chart of how to run this through your company. And also we'll have an estimating template for your sales and estimating meeting, okay? So visit contractorjobdescriptions.com and you will be able to download that. Also, you'll get an opportunity to sign up for my newsletter, and of course, we're going to send you the first chapter of my new book, Turn Your Construction Business into a Profit-Making Machine. All right, thanks for being here. Hope you go out and win some great work at high margins. Thanks.